What's happening, ninjas? Welcome back, all my ninjas. Appreciate y'all tapping back in with me for another video. So this video, we're going to start it off with just a question to ask yourself, right? Are you finding yourself in your current job, whatever it may be, if it's in IT or otherwise? Have you found yourself like quietly quitting? Or another way to say that is just found yourself in a dead-end job, just a job that you absolutely hate? Well, in this video, I'm just going to share my experience where I found myself in a job that I really just hated. I couldn't stand that job. And I also was working that job and I had my CCNA. And it was just low paying and I didn't like the people that I worked with, all of the above. So in this video, again, I'm just going to explain how I took that experience and then just shifted my mindset and just used that to get up out of that job instead of just wallowing in that, like that low negative energy that I don't want to be working there and all of that. How I was able to just transform all that energy into positive energy and then just move forward and then ultimately develop myself and get into a career and really use my CCNA to get the money that I wanted to get and to get that kind of lifestyle. It's just going to be going over those things that I did to shift my mindset and how I was able to do all of that. So to start things off, first of all, let's just talk about the job that I hated. And I'm not hating on nobody's job, of course, but the job that I hated was being a cable guy, basically, or just hooking up people's cable. So with everything, right, there's going to be pros and cons. With this cable installer job, there was pros of it. I like that I was kind of free to drive around, didn't have a manager really walking around on my back, looking over my shoulder like that micromanaging stuff. They pretty much gave you your jobs for the day, let you run the route and just get through your day, hooking up people's cable and the internet and telephone. I was hooking up cable, internet, and phone lines. And I did like the freedom of just being in that truck and just hooking up the cable and stuff. But there was definitely more cons that I found about the job. And especially if you look at like my video on my channel, right? I talk about this job as well. And this was the job that I first got when I got my CCNA. So definitely I had felony charges, a felony background and everything. So nobody was hiring me with or without a CCNA. So I had to take whatever job I had to take, right? Because I had to get my foot in the door, so to speak. So with that being said, what I did was I just took that job. I was grateful for it, right? And it was kind of within technology. So because you're working with modems, that kind of equipment, hooking up people's internet and helping them out if they didn't have an internet connectivity. Well, now let me talk about the cons of the job. I didn't like that it was super low pay. Again, I just took it because they was the only people that was going to hire me. So a lot of the jobs wouldn't even take me just because I checked that felony box, right? And probably because I checked that, African American box and all of that other stuff. That just ruled me out of that just weeded me out of the competition real quick. But I did have the CCNA. And when I did do the interview, were asking me about the CCNA. But again, this was no experience and everything. So they were just like, okay, we'll give you a shot, whatever. So fast forward, I'm working the job and everything, but it was just so low pay. That was one of the cons. Like that job, they should have been paying more, as much stuff as they wanted you to do on that job. They wanted you to do a lot of tough work, in my opinion, to be paying somebody such low pay. Of course, I didn't know what everybody else was making because, you can't ask nobody on the job how much they're making. I don't know why that is, but whatever. But I didn't know how much everybody else was making. But if they was making what I was making, it was very just super low pay. So that was one of the cons. The other con was I wasn't mechanically inclined really. I don't like working with tools and working with my hands and everything. So like I had to learn how to use a power drill. I had to learn how to, use wrenches and tighten down bolts. And I had to learn how to cut cables, put cable, put the cable ends on the cables and everything, the cable fit ins and all of that stuff. And some cats that was on the job, they just knew how to do that real quick. So, I did practice on my off time doing it. So it did help me out and get better, but I just didn't like it or whatever. So there was little tricks and stuff that you could learn, but I just didn't like working with that. And also at the time, your boy was only probably about $165, super lightweight, right? Probably like $160, $165, and soaking wet. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I had to carry around this big orange ladder when I had to climb up these telephone poles to hook up the cable and everything for the house if I had to run a new drop and everything to the house. So that ladder there was just a nightmare for me, right? Because that thing was like, I remember like it was yesterday, I swear, like 85 pounds, and it was an 11-foot ladder, right? So 85 pounds, that's already half my weight. So I had to, even though your ninja got like that gangster physique, you know what I'm saying? But I still had to lug around that ladder. And that was just tough enough for me. And not to mention if I had a wrap a house, meaning if they needed an outlet installed, you got to sit there and you got to take the drill and go around the house and drill each little screw and hang it around the house and make it look all nice and neat. And then you got the quality people coming behind you. And if you leave a little piece of trash, they're going to ding you on that and mark you off on all of that. So it was just some real sucker stuff that was going on in that job that I didn't like. But again, with no experience and just having a CCNA and having these fresh charges, I had to do what I had to do. And that's why I hated the job. But I think the thing that really woke me up to say, hey, this is not the job for you is so it's in Florida, right, where I'm working at. And in Florida, if you don't know, we got crawl spaces up underneath the houses. And if you get up underneath them crawl spaces, I didn't mind getting dirty and all that. Because, my homeboys put me on, just bring an extra change of clothes. Because if you have to go in a crawl space, it's going to get dusty and dirty and all of that. I didn't mind the dirt. But up underneath these crawl spaces, there's going to be rodents. You're going to have possums. You're going to have snakes. You're going to run into all kinds of stuff up underneath there. The job don't care. You're going to have to run the cable to get the job done. And they want the money, so they need the job to get finished. Somebody's got to do it. If you're not going to do it, they just going to get the next cat to do it. So I just was like, I just wasn't vibing with that. And it was just too much for me. That combined with carrying that ladder and everything. And then the one time that really got me hot was I was working up underneath this house, right? And all the pipes are running up underneath the house. I heard somebody flush the toilet. Next thing I know, I started feeling on the back of my neck. It's something steady dripping on my neck. So it was just like, bro, I know it was not the toilet water dripping on me. And it definitely was. And I remember I called my boss and I was like, man, I'm not going to be able to finish this house. He talking about why. I was like, man, the pipes are leaking on me in the crawl space where I need to get. He was just like, pipes leaking. He was like, you might as well finish that job. That ain't nothing. Just wipe that off and keep it going. So that's when it really clicked in my head that these people really don't care, because that to me is hazardous, and it's you know what I'm saying? That's your health that you're dealing with. I don't know what could have happened, you know what I'm saying? It did just get on my skin, but I don't know. I just was not feeling that at all. So that's when I was like, okay, you need to shift your mindset. You need to wake up, because if you don't, and I worked that job for 2 years, and I was just going through the motions, and it was just that was already 2 years gone. If I just would have kept with the same mindset, I guess a job is just going to magically come to me or something. No, you got to take action. You got to strategize. You got to shift your mindset to grow and to become more valuable, so you could and really put yourself out in that marketplace, market yourself so that you could get a higher paying job, especially since I had that certification. So I just shifted my mindset. The first thing I started telling myself was that this is just temporary. This is just a minor setback for a major comeback, right? It was just you already got all of the knowledge that you can get out of this job. It's not going to go that much farther. You see these people ain't treating you right. It's time to move on. So that's what began the shift of my mindset. So with that, I understood that I had to start strategizing to get out of the job, right? You can't just say, hey, I want to get out of the job. There's action steps that you got to take. So I started applying for more jobs and started going on these interviews. And I started seeing that a lot of them was like, yeah, you're a good candidate, but unfortunately, we can't hire you because of the felony background. So I started looking at the applications, and it was like 7 years is pretty much the average of how much these people were going to look back on my record to determine whether they're going to hire me. So I thought it was smart for me to try to finesse, and I just started leaving that box unchecked, right? And just putting that I wasn't convicted of a felony, which that definitely didn't work out for me because they just did the background check and they were like, okay, we definitely not hiring you because now you lying. So if you're in that position, you got felony charges, just put it on the box because that's not going to help you out to get a job. You got to be honest and you got to be upfront about that felony charge or whatever, just to get it out of the way. And I think that's what started letting me, when I started getting in these interviews, I started becoming more comfortable with myself. So that's how I used to start approaching these interviews. I started to be more aggressive as far as when I walked in the interview. I said, listen, I got my CCNA. I've been working this cable job. I just explained myself a little bit better in these interviews. And before the interview even started, I started telling them, hey, I got a felony charge. Are y'all going to hire me? I'm not trying to waste the interviewer's time. Definitely not trying to waste my time. So let's just get it out the way. If y'all ain't going to hire me, let's go ahead to the next candidate. But I think when I started doing that, they're like, well, hold on, let me talk to corporate. Because now I think that speaks to the human part. And now you can kind of like build a relationship with that interviewer where they might go to the back office. I don't know how it might be. I say that it's God, right? Because that's what I believe in. But they might go to the back and just say, hey, you need to hire this cat. He's a go-getter, blase, squaze. He got this. He got a CCNA. He's working on all of this, gaining more experience. He'll be a good start off or whatever. He's got some experience. He's been having a job for over a year. You know, that's another thing that you have to realize. You got to at least be you have to show somebody some kind of commitment, some kind of discipline for them to take that chance on you. It's not just going to be taking a chance on just anything, right? So that leads me into like my final point of all of this is I started learning to develop skills. Number one, right then, when I shifted my mindset, that already got me toward developing job interviewing skills and putting in these job applications, because it's kind of like a skill to get a job, right? You got to put in the application, then you got to sell yourself. You know, when you get on the phone with them, you got to be, yes, sir, yeah, I'm ready to work, and really just, yes, I'm going to sell myself and be very, yeah, I'm going to sell them the dream. Like, yeah, I've got the I got the CCNA. Yeah, I'm going to do it all. Yeah, networks, and I don't know much, and you just got to sell yourself a little bit. So I developed that skill. But again, like my final point is like that whole saying. That's when I learned that saying. I always heard it, but I really didn't know what it meant until I applied it. That saying where they say you got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So that's what I also shifted my mindset into, staying ready and not getting ready. What did that mean? That means keeping that resume up to date at all times. What else did I do? I started labbing like crazy, because after I passed the CCNA, I thought it was chill back time. Let me go ahead and get that 100K. Let me chill back and let these jobs start flowing in. I got the certification. You got to stay ready. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to get ready. So that means I started labbing. So that really that developing that skill of labbing, even though it wasn't on no production equipment, when I got in those interviews, I had got so sharp from labbing that if they asked me about EIGRP, OSPF, BGP, or anything, I'm able to talk with the best of them now or STP, I was just labbing this. What do you want to know about? We can go, you know what I mean? And once they seen that, and then they look at their staff that they already got, and half of these people don't even got CCNAs, I realized. Some people just got high school diplomas and stuff, which I just had, and ain't knocking none of that. But I started separating myself because the competition wasn't there, because I'm sitting there labbing day in, day out and developing that skill, which is putting more value to myself. And then the other thing that I did was, and I highly do not recommend anybody doing this, but it helped me at my time. But I'm just going to, for the video, just tell you about my experience. I started chasing a college degree. Mainly because I thought that if I had a CCNA and I had a college degree and I had experience, now when I'm going into those interviews, it's going to be pretty hard for them to turn me away. I pretty much was right. After I started going into interviews and said, hey, I'm enrolled right now for computer networking, so now I'm getting a college degree as well, you know. And I start asking them what can they offer for somebody, like tuition reimbursement. And they're like, yeah, we got all of that. So it's just more value that you can bring to them, they can bring to you. And as you could build a relationship with these companies rather than just coming in there like, just give me a job type deal, right? So I enrolled in college. And then what college and going through getting that degree also. So now I'm labbing, plus I'm going to school for it, plus I'm networking in classes and stuff with other people. So now I'm really talking that talk when I go into these interviews. So now with that college, I'm super, super sharp now. Because now I can talk about a little bit of my experience in college and what we're doing and what we're learning. And I'm getting more updated information versus the guy that may be working in the same position that I am that has outdated information. Yeah, he's got a college degree from 20 years ago. We know that technology, especially right now, that stuff is moving so fast. 3 to 5 years, if you're not updating your skills, you'll be obsolete quick. That's why the CCNA, every 3 years, you're going to have to update it. And that's why I learned that the easiest path was just to stay ready at all times so you don't never have to get ready. That's like my final point on that. And that pretty much wraps it up. Again, I hope this added some kind of value to somebody that may be in the same position that I'm in, trying to find a job and they don't know how to really, move, even though they got a CCNA with no experience. Use that labbing as experience. If you must, go get into debt with college. I mean, of course, if you could pay for it, but I had to get in debt with it. That's why I say I don't advise that. But do something or be a mentor, teach somebody else CCNA or something like that. Start a YouTube channel like I did or something like that to help add value to yourself so that you can land that high paying job. So when they put that offer on the table, you can slide that offer back and be like, you know what I'm saying? I need a little bit more than this. And then you could start getting to them 100K positions like how I'm getting now, where they seeking me because they see my resume and everything. And they want to offer me all these 6-figure salaries and everything. And if y'all want to hear about working with a 6-figure salary and stuff and all of that, because that's not all glamorous either, drop it in the comments below. Let me know what y'all want to hear more about. Or if y'all just want me to just keep labbing it up, which I'm going to drop more labbing videos, but those are very, very hard to put together for y'all. Those are very time consuming. These are a little bit easier. I do love labbing still, so that's why I'm still dropping them. And I'm keeping them pretty basic because this is for anybody that's trying to grow. So, I'm not at no super CCIE level. You feel me? But definitely make sure to, if you found any value, make sure you already know. Go ahead and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss that next video. And definitely like the video, share it, and comment down below on anything that y'all want me to, create for y'all on this content creation. And I'll definitely, it helps me out, makes it easier for me to get you what you want and, get me in them algorithms and all of that there. Again, I appreciate everybody and all the support and everything. And I'm going to catch y'all on that next video. Holla at your ninja. Peace.